Um, I should put on some lip gloss. I feel like I just need to dress up. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gracie, and if you're new here, welcome. I would love if you subscribed. This is my chill little area of YouTube where I just put faith videos and music and sometimes a sneaky little vlog. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about journaling, which is probably one of my favorite topics to talk about other than Jesus, because journaling is, I love journaling so much. It is one of my favorite things in the whole world. I feel like I just need to tell you how I feel. I feel a little bit out of character right now because I have my white hoodie behind me. Actually, this is a bit of a mess. I have my white hoodie behind me, and that is the mood I'm in right now. I'm just in a tired, sort of lazy mood, but I thought it might be nicer if I dressed up a little bit for the video. So my goal of this video, who cares about the mess in the background, right? It's fine. Yeah, so my goal of this video was to explain to you guys how I journal and some ideas for you, and I really think it's worth your time, so I hope it is, and let's get into the video. So I had a really rough year last year, as most people did, and I didn't journal at all. I probably journaled maybe once or twice or 3 times, a very small amount compared to the year before where I would be journaling almost every single day, like 5 pages a day. I was just obsessed with it. And I stopped, and I find, Cimarelli actually said this in their podcast, that I actually am a real sim fam, guys. This is the proof of it. I just mention them in every video. They were saying how often the times when you feel like you don't want to journal are often the times that you should be journaling. And I think that's because we don't like to face our emotions when we're really sad or really angry. I think a lot of times anger actually is a disguise for something deeper within. I'm often most angry when I feel actually most hurt and sad and vulnerable. So anyway, that aside, I think that journaling is actually super important. I have a whole video on it, I'll link below, for expressing our emotions, and I literally feel the difference when I don't journal. So this year, basically, I started journaling again because I thought, well, Cimarelli have been talking about it, I should just do it. So I did it, and the next day I woke up and I was like, I literally can tell I've journaled. My mind is just different. It's so much more free, clearer in a way, but also it helps me gain a more God-centered perspective. And I was just triggered by my dream last night. Oh my gosh. I was listening to a poem. Okay, slight off note. I was listening to poems, and there was Bukowski, I think his name is, or something. And he was talking about be damned Christianity and stuff like that. And then I had a dream that someone was harassing me and literally throwing insults at me for being a Christian. And I'm just remembering that now, and it was quite traumatizing. I had a really rough night. Anyway, we need to not be afraid of facing our sadness. And the more, with journaling, it's always something, not always, but when I'm sad, it's often something that I'm I dread doing, I don't want to do it. But the fact that I feel so good after doing it, and the fact that I have spoken to God after I've done it, makes it all so worth it. And I've been spending a lot less time actually on YouTube and binging shows since doing it, and I think it's because one reason is I know that I'm just going on those things often when I want to forget life and forget the world, and it definitely feeds into my depression. And I think actually putting things on a page, I feel so much better, and I can love people better because I also understand our sinful tendencies more, and it points me back to the gospel, which is what matters. So let's try to do this in points, because I feel like it's easier to understand things when they're in points. So point 1 of how to journal is you need to be writing not only factual information, but also emotions are facts in some ways. Well, factual, and then the emotive stuff. So I like to write, this happened. Sometimes you don't want to journal, and I'll just write, today I saw this person, today I watched a YouTube video, I don't know, whatever is in my mind, I'll write that. And then sometimes my brain will think like, oh, how did you feel about that? So I'll write down how I felt about those things. So that's the first part, like factual and emotive. You need, I feel like, this is, once again, this isn't like mandatory, but this is like my opinion. I think you need both of those when you're journaling, because if you're just being factual, I think sometimes you won't dig beneath the surface of what's going on inside. The second point, and this is a second idea, I guess, is something I have been really loving, as Simrelli recommended this again, and they said that often when you are feeling a certain way or have a certain belief, you will need to ask yourself why 4 or 5 times to get to the root of what that feeling or thought is. For example, like, oh, I wish I had my actual journal with me, but I had stuff like, oh, I don't want to go to this social event because I'm scared of what they'll think of me. And then I was like, why am I scared of what they'll think of me? Because I feel like I'm different to them and I'm an imposter among those people. And why do I feel like I'm an imposter? Because this was like really deep when I was doing it at the time, but I don't care, I'll share it with you guys. And then deep down I was just like, it's because I'm scared that they'll discover that I'm unlovable. And then I was like, okay. And then with that, I put a gospel mindset on that, okay? So you bring it to God after, and I'm like, God, how do I go about feeling unlovable? Because the gospel doesn't say that God died for us because we were worthy. Like, that's why we needed Jesus to die for us, because we were unworthy. But actually, to me, that journaling session actually highlighted that in my prayers, that God actually, we underestimate the lengths of his love for us, that we underestimate that someone could love someone when the other person has done nothing to deserve that love. And so what I gained from that was an understanding and a new prayer to trust in God's love for me, because his love far outweighs anything that I don't deserve. So my problem ended up not being to do with those people, but to do with my own thought processes and my own misunderstanding of God's acceptance and love for me. And that changed my whole weekend. And it's just crazy because we often think that, oh, it's these people's fault, or the world's fault. But in reality, I mean, those things may cause problems and indirectly have caused your internal issues, but often there is something inside of us that we are ignoring or we don't know. And I think we need to be a lot more self-aware, because we could avoid a lot of hurting other people, and also realign our perspectives to gospel truth, which is truth, and we all want truth, right? Third idea is doing a high and a low. So you can say your highest point of the week or of the day or of the past 2 days, and your lowest point, and then you can expand on both of them. Why did I feel so great about the high? Why did I feel so sad about the low? And bring them to prayer as well. And for me, journaling is not just talking to myself, but it's actually bringing my thoughts to God and being my own friend as well. And I think that really helps us sort of check in with ourselves and see how we're going, so that we can refuel ourselves and process and realize and acknowledge actual hurt. The fourth thing, which has been, is this fourth? Yes. Has been incredible. I love this. Has been writing letters to people who've hurt you, or you just mad with them for some reason, even if it's only made up in your own mind. I started doing this because of Simrelli once again, and they, what I do is I basically open my journal, I say, dear so-and-so, and then I write down how I'm feeling right now, and then I go, okay, so when this happened, I felt this way. When this happened, I felt this way. I think I feel this way because this, and then you go your why, and then you keep going until you've addressed all the main issues of why you're mad at this person. And the past 2 people I've written to, actually, it's so weird because I find myself sometimes writing to people that are very close to me who haven't really done anything to harm me, but it's been more me comparing myself to them. So yeah, once again, it's a me problem. So yeah, going into that, writing like, oh, I feel bitter against you because I feel like we're really similar and I see my insecurities in you and all of that sort of stuff. And then at the end, often I will have it's so weird, and it kind of sounds it sounds really weird, but I feel like I know, so I've sort of like counseled myself by writing a letter to someone else. And I think it comes back to us having a lot of our anger is actually like rooted in, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like a lot of my anger and my bitterness, while other people have definitely wronged me, I also have a lot of bitterness held on in myself, and it actually addresses a lot of my own issues when I'm actually writing a letter to someone else. You don't send it to them, by the way. And then, unless you want to, but I don't, because I make men really deep. And then underneath I do my like, this is how the gospel like aligns with it. And it literally is not hard to align things to the gospel. If you know the Bible, it's literally, the gospel is, you are so full of Jesus had to die, but so loved he was willing to die for you. And bringing that to God and aligning it with gospel truth, and then forgiving them. And I think a really key part of journaling, and this will be point 5, but also you include that in the other ones, especially the forgiveness letters, is permission. I think I'm learning a lot about respect and permission, because often I will provide respect to other people but neglect my own mental health. And how I think this aligns with the gospel is, I don't think God wants us to walk around despising ourselves. I think he wants us to be humble, and I think he wants us to think less of ourselves and not be so like, I love myself so much, like I'm the best, blah blah blah. I don't think he's all about that self-love, but I think definitely God wouldn't want us to be continually ruminating on our unworthiness when Christ has actually made us worthy. Oh wow, someone's paragliding again. You're a true fan if you remember that video where someone was. I can't remember which video it was though. So yes, permission and respect I think are important. So at the end of the letter, for example, writing to a parent and saying, I accept that we have our differences, and I allow myself to understand that you don't love me in the way that I seek to be loved, but that's okay because God loves me in the absolute perfect way. Or I understand that we may not be able to be close friends because of this difference, but I know that I can still love you and forgive you. Permission has been a massive thing for me, and it's also been super massive with confrontation. I think like journaling has made me more of a confrontational person, because I definitely like to avoid, with people that I truly care about and really deep issues, I like to avoid creating disharmony. Is that a word? And I think this has really helped me to realize it's actually loving to bring up things and to confront people about things that hurt you, to stand up for yourself. And I think that actually helps me become less of a people pleaser, which is major character trait for me, which I want to get rid of. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say also, like, another reason why you should be journaling is because it actually helps you, if you're a single person and if you're dating or married, to be able to be content with being alone. I think I'm someone that struggles a lot with being alone, even though I am an introvert. And I think it's, I'm just so scared of being alone because I rely so much on people. I feel like I'm quite a codependent person, unfortunately, but I'm working on it. Journaling has helped so much, and God is helping so much, and therapy has helped so much in the past. It helps us to really address childhood hurt or toxic thought patterns, address what may be leading us to sin, and point our hearts back to God. And it helps us to be able to be alone and just to be with us and God. And something I've been telling a lot of people lately that I've been seeing in real life, because I love that we have no lockdown. I've been telling everyone I meet basically that we need to not be afraid of our sadness. I know some of us have such deep hurt and trauma, and I'm not encouraging everyone to go deep into their trauma without the help of a therapist, but I'm saying that I don't think we should live our lives in ignorance of what is going on in our minds, because the more I do that, the more I am disrespecting myself. So if you've watched all of that, thank you so much. I love you, and I hope that this was helpful to you. If you start journaling, please send me a DM to my Instagram. I would love to see how it's going and what you've been journaling, and if there's anything personal that you want to share and that I can pray for you about, I would love to. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.